Hello, hello! Welcome to our next Miracles Only playthrough. This is the final Dark Souls, but not the last game in our series of runs. The games so far have been very interesting, with weird quirks to the routing and requiring careful play against bosses. Let's see how Dark Souls 3 holds up. Create another beard. Really just burning through these. Is that the joke I was making? Just like the prior two Dark Souls, I can't start with any offensive miracles. I tried to see if Force will actually be useful, and I nearly died trying it out. So yeah, no, the effective range is still very, very bad. Heading to the Gundyr fight. I can't access any offensive miracles yet, so this is a very standard melee combat. Never actually realized how much damage the mace does. Not a bad starting weapon. Into Firelink Shrine, putting some levels in Faith, and heading into Lothric. There isn't really that much here that interests me, so I just run straight through. I do stop to kill this crystal lizard. Doing so gives me a raw gem. This will let me infuse my mace with raw, increasing base damage, but removing scaling. Since I am only using this mace for one more fight, this is just a straight upgrade. Then into the Vord fight. This fight is also not interesting because we don't have our offensive spells yet. Also, the raw infusion does good work to make this fight go by very quickly. With Fort dead, we have beaten the only two bosses we need to go without miracles. Take a brief side trip to recruit Yol. He won't sell anything I care about, but the 5 free levels he'll give throughout the game are very useful. Then time to run like the wind through the Road of Sacrifice. Grab an Estus Shard by the People Fire, then keep running. It's a bit of a hike before we get our spell. Past the Greatwood Arena, while I am stubborn enough to try this fight with only Soul Arrow, I am not stubborn enough to try with literally no offensive spells. I do die several times just trying to get to the Onion Elevator, mostly due to my own impatience. Hacksaw boys follow me through the door, and I have to move carefully to avoid them, but also not get Onion Knight killed. I will need to keep him alive for later. Drop down by the dogs and grab a miracle boosting ring and our first Braille tome. Talk to Henri, she is very important later. Try some ladder shenanigans and die. But so do both NPCs, so that's fine. Then die to a crab. Sure is a lot of dying before the run even really gets started. Now it's time for the Poison Swamp, and I get very lost. I am very used to my normal path and nothing else. After entirely too much running around, I find the ladder up to the Old Wolf Bonfire. Circle around and grab the ashes? I thought this was Lightning Spear. Hold, please. Oh, wait, no. I go up the elevator, drop down, and grab Lightning Spear from in front of the dragon. Huzzah! Now I finally have an offensive miracle. And this time I have enough faith to use it immediately. Time to head up to Big Booty and see how good this miracle is. And the answer is not very good. To be fair, my chime hasn't been upgraded and my faith is fairly low, but still, I was hoping for more. But now that I have an offensive miracle, it's time to go back through some areas to grab some items. Take the elevator to befriend a giant archer, halfway down as we chat with Onion Knight, and down to fight the demon here. Lightning Spear is still kind of bad. I do discover that, despite being a ranged miracle, it's actually best to cast this in melee if possible. The spear has a second damage hit if cast in melee for some reason. Very weird. Anyway, Demon one-shots me with his big boom attack, so I have to come back. Fortunately, Onion Friend didn't die, so he is fine. I grab Lloyd's Ring. This boosts physical damage at low equip levels. Could be useful with my physical miracles later on, but hopefully I won't need it. Grab a Bone Dust from the Arrow Field, then Chloranthy Ring to boost my stamina regen. Back to Firelink, I boost my chime to +1 at the blacksmith, then into the sewers to rescue Irina. She will be our miracle teacher for the game. Rescue Grey Rat, as he might sell things that are helpful. I'm actually not sure, but no harm in rescuing him. Definitely didn't die half a dozen times just to get the key. With the items, we head back to Andre to upgrade our chime to +3. I give Irina the Braille tome I got, but it doesn't actually teach anything useful. Not yet, anyway. Back to the Road of Sacrifices to grab the Sage Ring to boost our casting speed by a good bit. Then Orbeck is a jerk. I considered killing him, but he doesn't give me anything I care about, so why bother? And it's time for the Crystal Sage. Will this fight be easy, or will it be another brick wall? And it is the latter. My damage isn't bad, but my health is. And while Lightning Spear being a ranged spell helps in theory, the damage is bad unless I cast it in melee to get the bonus damage. Basically meaning it's just a real slow melee weapon. Back to the Poison Swamp to pick up some random items and light the braziers to the Abyss Watchers. Really can't wait to have any offensive miracle other than Lightning Spear. Grab another Bone Dust and an Estus Shard on the way. I also spend a lot of time dying because my damage is really bad, so there is little point in fighting enemies. Gate open, we can head through, unlock the shortcut, and give the Abyss Watchers a try. And you get one guess on how that went. The answer is not great. I try a few more times. My damage isn't actually bad against the Abyss Watchers, especially when I hit in melee, but the cast speed on Lightning Spear is rough. And while the AoE on the spear could be useful, it usually just means I hit the friendly Abyss Watcher. Okay, let's go back and try Crystal Sage. Huh. I need to be in melee to deal enough damage, but my bad cast speed and disappointing damage means I still just get wrecked. Back into the fight with the Crystal Sage with my most magic-resistant outfit, and I'd love to say it goes better, but yeah, no. Getting past Phase 1 is fine, but as soon as he summons duplicates in Phase 2, I get wrecked. Normally I just run in and get a hit and run out, but my damage makes that less viable, especially with how few yellow flasks I can spare. And the casting time makes finding an opening difficult, and all the downsides Lightning Spear has doesn't translate to good damage. The damage is actually pretty low, especially considering my last playthrough was Bandit Twin Daggers. I feel like the Abyss Watchers and Crystal Sage aren't really much of a wall in a normal playthrough. I don't know why 2/3 of the playthroughs I've done have gotten walled so completely by these two bosses. And because this is a Dark Souls 3 run, the line only goes through these two bosses. I basically always focus on fast weapons or spells in these games. I wonder if I should do a challenge run with the chunkiest weapon in each game. I feel like that might be fun, and I'd probably be bad at it. After some tree jumping back at Firelink, I grab an Estus Shard, forgot this was up here, and the covetous Silver Serpent Ring. Time to head back to the old Farron bonfire and actually take down Big Booty. Definitely doesn't take too many tries. Doing so gives 5,000 souls and a poppable soul for 20,000. I boost my vigor up to 16 to actually have some durability. And again, I'd love to say this changes the outcome of the fight, but here I am, dying over and over again. Crystal Sage is rapidly becoming my least favorite boss in this game. I really hope this is the worst struggle in the game, otherwise this is going to be a long playthrough. Well, that's an hour of my life I'm never getting back. Let's see if the Abyss Watchers are any more accommodating. I really did only try this fight twice before. And actually, yes. The Abyss Watchers are no less aggressive than the Crystal Sage, but my damage is better, even when I'm not in melee. And while it is by no means easy to find space to cast Lightning Spears, not being constantly peppered by lasers is a nice upgrade. And the fight actually becomes easier in Phase 2 because there are only one enemy to keep track of. The Abyss Watchers can cover a lot of distance with their attacks, but they don't actually have any ranged abilities. So Phase 1 becomes use lightning while trying to keep all the Watchers in view, and Phase 2 becomes punishing his attacks with Lightning Spears to the face. Doesn't take as long as I fear it would to bring down the Abyss Watchers, which means we finally have another path forward. Have Yol draw out my true strength, both because I want free levels and I want the hollowing. Time for Greatwood. I don't have a melee miracle, there kind of isn't one in this game, but Lightning Spear has an AoE, so hopefully the fight goes fine. And while fine is a bit of a stretch, it certainly does go. It's kind of a pain to attack around its friends, but once I get to Phase 2, it's fine. I also forget where most of his pustules are, again, which means I waste more miracles than I really should have. But my very last Lightning Spear manages to bring it down. Now we have the transposing kiln. It won't be super useful in this playthrough, but I know at least one transposition that will be helpful. Bye, Yol. Hello, ma'am. You don't look suspicious at all. Vigor's up to 20, and my faith is still getting buffed. Back to Crystal Sage. Still takes a few more tries, but I've gotten a good number of levels to buff both my durability and my damage. I also have more FP, so I don't have to be as stingy with my attacks. I also use Caressing Prayer for some passive healing. This gives me enough oomph to finally end the Crystal Sage. Continue to buff my faith, and it's on to the Cathedral. The NPCs on the way are both very easy to cheese with ranged weapons, even though both of them do decide to try throwing knives. Run past the infinite dogs and grab the bonfire. Take a few minutes to grab an Estus shard and clear out the area around the Cathedral's base. Other than the Estus shard, there isn't really anything here that's interesting to me. Except the Saint Tree Bellvine, a chime I will not realize the importance of for a while. My gut is telling me to head past the Abyss Watchers to the Catacombs and to the smoldering lake beyond to get the miracle that is waiting for me there, but I decide to go through the Cathedral next instead. Grab another bone dust in a graveyard. I guess that is where you would find that. Considering how short the Cathedral area actually is, why does this place have 5 different shortcuts? I'm convinced it's like the Shrine of Amana, where they realized the area kind of sucks and added more so it would be less miserable. I do try to get patches to spawn here so I can guarantee purchasing Onion Friend's armor, but the way you get him to spawn is real weird and I don't actually remember it. Let's just hope I can get him back at Firelink Shrine. Otherwise I'm going to be in a bit of a situation. Oh well, let's head into the Deacon fight. Surely the Deacons won't... Are you kidding me? Deacons? Deacons are walling me? So this fight has a lot of problems. My damage is good against one Deacon, but only when I get the melee bonus, and the AO on the spear is nothing compared to an actual weapon. Miracles have no real poise, so unless I am quick, and lucky, I can get very easily interrupted in the cast. I can use talismans to access the weapon art that casts a spell with greater poise, but I don't have any that are upgraded. They are weaker than chimes, and that would mean trading attacks, which I don't think I'm durable enough to do. And Phase 2 is also bad, because while I have one specific target, it's very easy for the other Deacons to get between me and the number 1 Deacon. I tried this fight more times than is really reasonable, and it just will not work out for me. The best I get is by playing as aggressively as possible, which gets me killed. Okay, add Deacons to the list of normally easy bosses that miracles are not equipped to deal with. Well, I did think Karthus was the right answer, so time to do that instead. But first, let's head up the elevator in Firelink to make sure Patches actually spawns. He did. Good. I can't afford the onion armor yet, but just knowing he's here makes me feel better. Back to the Abyss Watcher's bonfire. The catacombs are annoying to get through normally, but fortunately there is nothing here that I really need. And knowing that means I can just run through with relative ease. Just realized I never killed the mage for the first skeleton ball that drops bone dust. Oh well, way too late now. Drop the bridge before Wilnir and die to a very clingy skeleton. So, back through and do it again. But successful this time. Climb down the ladder and try to fight this demon for his drop, but wow, my damage against him is awful. And I'm dead. Third time! Skip the demon and head straight for the bonfire. Stupid skeleton respawning means I can get the bonfire lit, but can't actually use it. Fortunately, the next part of my plan is very easy. Have a nice rest in this divot while a ballista kills the worm. This gives me a bone dust and lightning stake, my new miracle. Shoot, I just realized I never killed the Demon King for some nice souls. Well, too late now. Lightning stake is like lightning spear, but in melee. So while the AoE and melee of Lightning Spear is an afterthought, with Lightning Stake, it's the whole point. Okay, back to the Deacons, this time with a new miracle in tow. And yeah, the better damage in AoE is exactly what I needed. The casting time is still rough and makes it easy to get interrupted, but the damage is so much better, and the AoE clears out the other Deacons very effectively. Back to Firelink to buff up my attunement some more. The increased FP is great, and the additional attunement slots I will get is even better. Gather up some souls in the Cathedral so I can afford Onion Knight's armor from Patches, then drop it down a well to progress that questline. Then take down the Mimic in the Cathedral to get the Deep Braille Tome. This unlocks Gnaw and Deep's Protection. The former is my first source of dark damage, which is great, And the other is a buff spell I really should have used way more than I did. Let's keep this train rolling. Back to the Catacombs, this time to take on our next boss, Wolnir. It's the same run as before, but I don't have to drop down the bridge. And the Wolnir fight is mostly pretty easy. Lightning Stake does great damage against his bracelets. The only issue is he keeps summoning this stupid fog, so I have to keep running away from him. It's not enough to save him. Huh. Just realized I killed him so fast he never even summoned his big sword for phase 2. Nice. Into Irithyll, and this area is actually a bit of a struggle for me to get through. Even the first dog gives me a decent number of tries. The time it takes to cast miracles is the biggest issue. Ooh, Gnaw deals pretty good damage actually. That's good to know. The enemies here are too durable and too fast to bother fighting, so it is time to simply run. Fortunately, there are only a couple items here of any real value to me. Run past this invisible barrier and kill this woman. This gives me Doris's Gnaw, which is like Gnaw, but also inflicts bleed buildup, so it's a straight up upgrade. On to the next bonfire via running very quickly, then back to Smoldering Lake to kill Horus because I'm worried I messed up Henri's quest. Better Gnaw makes quick work of him. Into Firelink to upgrade my Chime to +6 and tell Grey Rat to scavenge Irithyll. Henri is still not at the chapel, so let's just move on. Grab some bone dust from behind a grave, and it's time for more running, because I have a date with a friend, an onion friend. Having advanced his quest this far, he gives me Emit Force, another miracle option that deals physical damage, rounding up the trio of damages I will have access to. Time to try it out on some dogs, and I'm dead. And again. Oh look, it's me. Dead. Again. Seriously, these dogs are the worst obstacle I've faced since Crystal Sage. They attack just fast enough that none of my miracles can actually be used effectively. Eventually, I do make it through by baiting out the dogs one by one and systematically killing all the spellcasters. I always forget about this section being just the worst if you don't have a good sweeping weapon to attack with. Fortunately, then it's a quick run to unlock the shortcut for the Pontiff fight, which actually goes way better than I expected. I used Better Gnaw in the first phase. Its damage isn't great, but it inflicts bleed. In phase 2, when he tries to summon his duplicate, I switch to Lightning Stake to hurt both Pontiff and destroy his duplicate. He manages to summon another one, but by this point he has so little health it only takes one more hit to bring him down. Pontiff is dead, and my next destination is the Profaned Capital. But to get there I have to head through the Irithyll dungeons. This area is short, and I honestly spend more time exploring than I should. There isn't really anything worth risking my neck for. Killing this first mimic gives me another Estus shard. Then get Sigmayr's Cell Key. The second mimic gives me the Dark Clutch Ring. Ooh! Increased dark damage in exchange for reduced defenses. I do like damage. Skip the patrol room because Carla can't teach miracles I want, so she doesn't matter. Almost have a fall death, but just barely managed to save it. Not Yorm time quite yet. I have to kill Logan another time. He's very roly, but also very bleedable. And drop down to grab Wrath of Gods, another physical miracle to increase our options. We rescue Onion Friend, get a Titanite slab, and it's Yorm time. The Yorm fight is fine. Onion Friend deals most of the damage, I just cast Better Gnaws to keep Yorm's attention. Thanks to the bleed procs, I actually deal some damage. Maybe one Onion Friend attack worth? It's not much, but hey, more than I would normally contribute. Time to fight the Dancer early. I want to access the gardens to get upgrade materials for the next few fights, for some reason. Dancer is weak to dark damage, and vulnerable to bleed. It still takes a few tries because my dodge times are bad, and my cast speed is trash. Her attacks also have a much longer range than I remember. The Dark Clutch Ring helps shore up my damage, and the reduced durability doesn't even really matter with how fast she can kill me. Final Bleed proc takes the win. Set the bowl, climb the ladder, and ride the elevator down to Osiris's garden. Down here, we can get a decent amount of Titanite chunks to upgrade our chime. While we're down here, let's fight Osiris. I don't super remember his moveset, but fortunately, my best attack spell is Lightning Stake, which Osiris is weak to. It only takes a couple tries to stake him to the ground. It's also a decent chunk of souls. The chunks I've gotten get my chime up to +7, and I'm still pumping faith as I want my damage number to go up. While I'm down here, I might as well fight True Gundyr. His moveset is fast and violent, which is very not great for my slow cast speed. Decide to split between Lightning Stake to deal big chunks of damage, and Better Not to deal big range damage. Despite Gundyr's best attempts, he can't withstand the gnawing. I head back to Firelink Shrine and get my vigor up to the soft cap of 27 for 1000 HP. Head back to the gardens and into Lothric Castle to gather up even more Titanite chunks. Also grab a bone dust from under the bridge. All this Titanite means I can finally get my chime to +10. Now we're cooking. Ah, and Orlando. So familiar to me now. I've been here before. So very long ago. This place is pretty easy to just run through. I reach the main chamber and am confronted by the last lord, Aldrich. Black sludge puppeteering Gwendolyn, the only god I left alive the last time I was here. Last? This fight isn't too bad. Aldrich can do a lot of magical damage, but his attacks leave him basically immobile for a good chunk of time. He's also weak to Lightning Stake, meaning I can do big damage between his attacks. It's only a matter of time before he is dead. I get teleported away because I guess nobody can be bothered to stay dead. Hop back to grab the Sun Princess ring to get some passive HP regen. Might be useful. Back to Firelink and I can turn Aldrich's soul into the Life Hunt Scythe. This deals nice dark damage and heals me. Love it. Time to commit some crimes. Sorry, Yorshka. No gods, no masters, and your chime is the best in the game. Really should have grabbed this before spending all my chunks on my existing chime. I can get Yorshka's chime up to +6, but no more. At least for now. 3 lords dead, and it's time to head into Lothric Castle proper. I'm pretty concerned about the next boss. Dragonslayer armor is quite quick, and my casts are slow. It is at this point I discover the Bellvine, a chime I've been ignoring, can boost my casting speed to max when held in the offhand. It's actually better than the Sage Ring, which only boosts effective dexterity by 30. Well, that would have been good to know earlier. Quick trip back to Irithyll to grab the ring I forgot that gives a 20% boost to miracle damage. Into the Dragonslayer fight, and my concerns were warranted. It resists all damage and has fast attacks that make finding time to cast my miracles very tricky. It having a stupid good great shield is just the cherry on top. Time to run some errands to grab more chunks for a new chime. First to Dragonland. I don't normally go here because I don't normally fight the Nameless King, but there is some Titanite just lying around. And the minions here are very weak to dark damage, it would seem. I also discovered the Lightning Clutch Ring. Bonus lightning damage at the cost of reduced defenses? Yes, please! And consider navigating around the Ancient Worm and decide no, I will not be doing that. Because there are actually some more chunks I can get in Lothric Castle. Most are just lying around, but they are not enough to fully upgrade my chime. Fortunately, this Winged Knight can be killed fairly easily and drop chunks more often than not. It's not enough to upgrade Yorshka's chime to +10, and honestly, I don't really feel like grinding anymore. So, let's change up our strategy a bit, shall we? I switch around my rings and add Wrath of God to my memorized spells. It deals physical damage, the kind least resisted by Dragonslayer, but the cast time is even worse than other miracles. I can really only use it when the Dragonslayer armor leaves itself very open. Otherwise, I die. Okay, new plan. No armor, and Lloyd's Ring to boost my damage even more. I still die, but look at that wrath damage. I feel a great kinship with this. Almost like this wrath was mine somehow. I'm even less durable than before, but that damage is chunky. More to the point, by prioritizing damage over any defense, I don't need to worry about being in melee to optimize getting as many hits in as possible. It takes a lot of force, and a lot of wrath, but the victory is mine. It's almost time. The peak of the castle calls to me. How many times have I been on this journey? How many cycles have repeated? This is it. This is the final one. The path through the Grand Archives isn't too bad. Being able to do such a wide variety of damage types is great. I grabbed the last bits of Titanite chunks I need to get my chime up to +9. Still need a slab, but we're close. Only one thing remains that I need to do before the end. I find Henri in the Catacombs below Carthus. Her friend is dead, Aldrich destroyed. She has no purpose left. I talk to her again in Irithyll, to push her further to the brink. Sorry, Henri. This story isn't about you. It never was. The sword of betrothal is my weapon. With this, I am wed. With this, I can carve a new future. This cycle will end. I will end it. Continue through the archives, up into the rafters. I grab another Estus shard. Drop down into the cage to grab Pillars of Light. A miracle I will not bother using, but it was there. And finally, another bone dust on the way back to the next run. Take this elevator down, and it's time for me to upgrade Yorshka's chime to +10. The strongest chime is mine. And nothing left to do but fight the twin princes. No more running, Lothric. No more waiting. This age is ending. Not in darkness, but by my hand. Fighting me won't stop this. I won't stop. I've walked this path more than enough times, killed too many kings. Deep protection enhances my hollowed form. Lorien is resilient to the dark, but not to lightning. Stakes bring the brother low. Lorien can revive him, but it's not enough. It could never be enough. My miracles are strong, my lightning peerless, and this time my faith is stronger. I lose, and I lose, and I lose, but I don't give up. Never give up. How many times can Lorien rise? Not enough, and the twin princes fall. This is it. 4 souls placed, a path of ash set before me. But this time I'm ready. I know what happens next. I know what I can do about it. I make for the kiln. I make for the end. The soul of Cinder is a hodgepodge of all those who came before, chosen undead, bearers of the curse. They flit as memories through many forms, knights and pyromancers and sorcerers. But not me. I'm not there. I'm here. This is the lie. A swarm of dead propping up a world unfit to continue. My miracles are strong, my lightning peerless, my faith is strong. Hello, Gwyn. You're still here? At the very end? No matter. This isn't your world anymore, this isn't your kingdom. The gods are dead and humanity remains. And though I die as many times as you can kill me, I will return. I will try again. These were your spears once, but no more. The fire is ours. The lightning is ours. You are a memory. One that should have faded long ago. With lightning in hand, the soul of Cinder is destroyed. Echoes of untold dead who once linked the fire. It's time. Time to link the fire. But I refuse. I wrest the flame from its mantle. This is what Yuria wanted. To take the flame, become the Lord of Hollows, but no. I will use the flame to carve a different path forward. To find a way on. Light of the fire, dark of the deep. What lands could lie between? Let's find out together.